Brotherly love and marginalisation are the themes of Malaysia's official submission for the 97th Academy Award for Best International Feature Film. In this video, I'm going to review their submission, called Abang Adik, and give my perspective of how well it could do at the Oscars, by drawing also on how well previously Malaysia have done at the Oscars. If you're new to my channel, my name is Paul, and I review the best of world cinema, and I follow the race for Best International Feature Film Oscar, from countries selecting their submission to the final winner. So let's roll and review that film. Abang is deaf and mute and is longing to connect with other individuals, while Adik is wild and reactionary, causing trouble everywhere he goes. However, these two brothers share such a bond with each other. This was because they were orphaned as children. This was due to a house fire, which killed their parents and removed all traces of their official identification and documentation. As adults, they are forced to live with marginalised communities because of this situation, including the refugees from Myanmar, as well as those communities that are discriminated against, such as trans women. A fatal incident causes this brotherly bond to be tested in this fascinating exploration of migration, identity, and the basic right to live. So what did I think of the film? I loved how they turned the story of refugees on its head by taking the very common story about refugees not having the right documentation and identity to stay in the particular country they are inhabiting. The film recreates the same experience, but this time actual Malaysian citizens who should, in theory, have the right to live in the country because they were born there. This shows how sometimes state action on migration can be dehumanising and marginalising individuals who have so much potential. This film is very much could be interpreted as political commentary on current politics surrounding migration, immigration, and documentation. I think it's also very brave to make such a film in Malaysia, which I've read is quite censoring of some of its cinema output. So to have a film do well in the cinemas and also selected as the country's official Oscar submission seems quite brave and groundbreaking. The film is really benefiting from two really strong lead performances of the two brothers. In 2023, the lead actor Wo Kang Ren won Best Actor at the Golden Horse Awards, a Taiwanese cinema award ceremony for Chinese language films. There's one scene in particular that will stay with me for a long, long time, where he's fully able to communicate his pain of both the discrimination he experiences from being disabled, but also the experience of how him and his brother have been living and the actions that have happened as a result of it. It is so heartbreaking and so powerful with the acting that goes on his face without him saying a single word. The scene is one of the most groundbreaking things I've seen in recent years, and it completely lacks sentimentality, which is so easy to do in these sort of films. The film itself is extremely cinematic. It manages to use light really effectively, often portraying the mood of the characters in a very subtle way, with many of the scenes looking like pieces of art. It really delivers such a beautiful palette. It's a shame that in the Western world this hasn't had much of a cinematic release and has managed to just stay on Netflix, which ruins the possibility of seeing it on the big screen. However, at least it's accessible to a wider audience. But I fully understand why it was such a hit, especially in Taiwan, where it did so well in the box office. It's both accessible, heartbreaking, cinematic, and realistic. I also really love the use of sound in the film. It really earns the silence that it uses, and at times really deploys what it must be like to be deaf mute in these circumstances, without again resorting to sentimentality or victimising Abang. The score is extremely subtle and never resorts to being directional or exploit you to feel emotions. It's just there quietly in the background, but having so much impact. I really enjoy how the narrative sews together the political themes with this criminal noir style story, but never resorts to cliches or predictable narrative twists. It just manages to deliver real emotional impact without using sentimentality. I would give Abang Adik 4 stars, and I would rank it 4th out of the 11 submissions I've seen so far. So let's have a quick look at how well it will do in the Oscar. I really love this film, as you can already tell. However, I think it's got an outside chance of making the final 15 shortlist. It's a very small film and we'll really need to have the word of mouth behind it, which I don't think it will quite have at the time of voting. And its distributor, Netflix, will have other films in the category they will want to be promoting ahead of it. However, sometimes you do find these really small films from corners of the world that don't generally do well in this category manage to make the final 15. So there's hope that the quality will provide a little bit of momentum. Surprisingly, this is Malaysia's 9th Oscar submission. I have yet to have any success, with not a single film not even making the 15 title shortlist. However, in recent years, I've seen Malaysia submit films that are of a higher standard and could be in the running to be in the final 15 shortlist. You just have to look at last year's Tiger Stripes and Abang Adik this year to know that they have a chance of one day soon making that final 15 if they continue to submit such quality. So if you want to find out whether Abang Adik has made the shortlist, please do subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos and like this videos to find out which country is going to win Best International Feature Film Oscar.